On a clear day, visitors to Seattle can see Washington's tallest peak, Mount Rainier. But what they can't see are the Air Force Reserve pararescuemen, or PJs, from the 304th Rescue Squadron, operating on top of the mountain. The Special Warfare Airmen are highly trained in combat search and rescue, but for the next 36 hours, they're not going to be operating in enemy territory. Instead, I'll see their stateside mission, conducting rescues at high altitudes in extreme conditions with elite CH-47 Army Reserve Aviators from Fox Company 2135 General Support Aviation Battalion.
If we're getting the call from the National Park Service, that means we're that person's last hope to get off the mountain.
Without the PJs and without the National Park, we can't do that mission.
Working at high altitude, working in snow, working on ice, working with high winds.
It has a lot of risk inherent to it. That's why we have this mission.
My name is Naveed Jamali. I'm a journalist, a veteran, and a former spy. On Unconventional, it is my honor to witness the passing of the torch, to tell the stories of the young women and men who serve in a changing world, and a military balancing tradition and change. I'm embedding with this vital team to see how the Air Force and Army work together to perform rescues 14,000 feet up on the treacherous slopes of Mount Rainier. I'll get a first-hand look at the unique group risking their lives so that others may live, using the skills honed on the battlefield to operate in one of the most breathtakingly beautiful yet devastatingly dangerous places I've ever been. Nestled a short flight from Mount Rainier is one of the world's largest military installations. Why are you all here at Joint Base Lewis McChord?
So we're here to work with the Army Reserve. They have Chinooks. We have a mission with them rescuing civilians off of Mount Rainier.
So this is the first time that the 304th this year, which is the Air Force Reserve's pararescuemen, or PJs, are flying with these Army Reserve Chinooks. So they're about to do what's known as a FAM flight, or a familiarization flight, where they're all going to fly out to a specific point, knock off some of the dust, some of the rust, and eventually it leads till tomorrow when we all head out to Mount Rainier.
I've flown in CH-47s before, but never quite like this. Chinooks can operate almost anywhere, but these birds have a few noticeable upgrades to effectively conduct mountain rescues at high altitude.
This is our CH-47 Fox model configured for our search and rescue operations up at Mount Rainier. So as you can see, we have the plywood shoring in, and that's to protect the floor from climbers' crampons, anything that might puncture the floor. We have 4 climbing bags in there with various items from crampons to cooking stoves, tents, food rations, stuff like that.
Due to the risk of flying at night, if a rescue goes past sunset, PJs must be prepared to spend the night on the mountain in one of the most inhospitable environments. So even on a sunny August day, extreme survival gear is a must. The mountain has its own weather, so Fox Company Chinooks fly with skis year-round.
They allow us to disperse the weight of the aircraft onto the snow to prevent us from sinking down into the snow.
But even with skis, CH-47s are not always able to land on the steep slopes of Rainier. Sometimes, conducting a rescue comes down to their exclusive capability to hover at high altitudes as patients and rescuers are winched aboard. It's a danger that is only mitigated by the experience and skill of the Army crews.
And you have ears, eyes, helmet, gloves.
Yep. Good
to go.
So we're going to fly to this training area, and the idea is when we get together with these guys after a long period, usually we just want to do like very simple iterations of the hoist operation that we're going to conduct later on the mountain. Today's buildup is basically a practice of what we call a snatch. A PJ will come down on the hoist, connect to that climber, and then extract the climbers.
Today, that climber is a PJ, but tomorrow, it might not be.
It's just anybody who's hiking Mount Rainier that we could be rescuing.
So, seeing the Chinook cruise by, knowing the mission that it performs, specifically with this command, what do you feel?
I feel so much pride just being tied to this community and involved in this mission.
How do you like the Chinook?
I love the Chinook. I think it's absolutely the best platform the Army has to offer.
It's bold words. Why do you like the Chinook?
I think we're really good at a lot of different things, and I think we have the most direct impact on helping people.
You said this morning, this flight is almost like a low risk flight or medium risk.
Yeah.
When you transition to flying to the mountain, how does that risk, how does that like profile change from doing this at Pinnacle to actually going to the mountain?
The profile changes just because there's more moving parts. You got more gear on, we have crampons on, and then also, you know, the mountain has its own risks.
Those risks will all come into play tomorrow when the team faces the mountain head on. After all, there's no place you can truly train for Mount Rainier other than Mount Rainier.
Today's the day we're gonna fly to the mountain. Weather here is beautiful for flying, but the weather over the mountain could be completely different. And at the end of the day, it's something we've heard consistently throughout the week of being here, which is the weather and the mountain get a vote. So hopefully the weather holds, hopefully it's like this over the mountain, and hopefully we can go flying and see the PJs do their thing. I'll see you guys in there.
If that vote is yes, the plan is to fly to Mount Rainier's Echo Rock Peak to conduct the hoist at 7,800 feet above sea level.
Hoist greet. We'll start with my aircraft on the non-rated, anything. We're looking at the bottom of the cloud sitting at 7,000 with the top sitting at 8,000. Echo Rock is...
All right, so Dev, I know they're in their briefing. Can you tell us what's going on?
Yeah, so right now the clouds are kind of coming into play. Air Force weather is saying, 7,000 feet ceilings, 8,000 foot tops. What we're seeing with the webcams is they're actually about 5,700 feet, 6,000 feet. So there's a possibility that we're going to go up IFR via instruments, get on top of it, transition to VFR, and then go conduct the hoist mission there at Echo Rock.
Why is it so important to have sort of these weather minimums when you're dealing so close to essentially a giant rock?
Approaching that risk and mitigating it to the lowest level keeps us safe, goes home to our families, but ultimately it pulls that person off the mountain so they can go home, to their family.
As we stand by for updates, the PJs and soldiers continue prepping for the mission, unless told otherwise.
We're planning on as if it's a go, so we're going to keep getting ready, get out to the aircraft, keep moving that direction. But currently the weather's not allowing us to get up to the mountain. So we'll have to do another weather call at 10:15, about 15 minutes before we're supposed to leave to see if actually we're going to take off or not. And even when the helos get up there, they do another assessment of what the ground truth is of if they can actually operate up there.
So this is far before this time.
Yeah.
So getting ready to fly, it looks like the weather is going to hold to allow us to get up to the mountain. So it's very hot here, but it's going to get really cold when we get in the aircraft and climb up to 6,000 or 7,000 feet. Should be pretty wild, pretty excited. So let's lift up.
After a final round of aircraft and crew checks, we are airborne.
We get above the clouds and then get at a certain altitude to get a good approach into Echo Rock. And then we had to coordinate with our the actual mission bird to come in and come to a hover. And then that way we could get set up off of that. So it is incredibly challenging.
Looking good.
As we approach Mount Rainier, I can see muscle memory kicking in. The PJs and aircrew make it look easy. but it's not. Snow covers bottomless crevasses, and helicopter rotor wash could easily knock someone off the mountain. Pilots must hold the massive aircraft stable for as long as it takes to recover the patient. There's no margin for error. At this altitude, even a gust of wind, an engine failure could be fatal.
We're able to perform rescues on Mount Rainier due to the rigorous training that we do. It is truly the best pilots that are in Army Reserve Aviation operating on Mount Rainier. It is the varsity team that you bring your A game 100% of the time. You can't let your guard down.
And none of this can happen without the Chinook.
The Chinook was the aircraft of choice for combat search and rescue in Afghanistan, and this unit was stationed in Afghanistan in 2019 where they performed combat search and rescue.
That experience means pilots are accustomed to high-stress environments and ready to make split-second decisions.
As soon as we get the call, it's how quickly can we get out the door to go get that person.
While today's patient isn't injured, the PJs are going through all of the same steps they would in a real rescue. From a careful climb back into the aircraft to checking vitals on board.
Have you actually done any rescues on Mount?
I have. I did a couple with these guys a couple years ago. There was a climber that had fallen into a crevasse about 80 feet deep. That one was actually pretty interesting because we had cell phone comms with the guy. We were able to text him. He sent us a picture of the crevasse 80 feet down. The Park Service climbed up. They have a phenomenal climbing rescue team. They secured him, and then we provided that hoist capability down from the helicopter to the patients, brought them up, and then we provide in-flight medicine because all of our pararescuemen are paramedics.
That was just amazing flying. We had an amazing experience, and I know you can. Most importantly, you kept us safe. We're super, super grateful, Billy. Really.
Well, you're welcome.
That was awesome.
It's our pleasure to serve you.
One thing I've learned watching this over the last couple of days is it's so clear why these two different groups, the Chinook Air Crews and the Air Force PJs, coming together to collaborate, why that forms such a unique skill set to operate on a mountain that's so challenging. The reality is, without those two working together, to be able to get to the mountain and effect those types of rescues just wouldn't happen. No two flights to that mountain are ever the same, and the danger exists whether you're there doing no-joke rescue or like we're doing today, flying a training mission. And it makes total sense why the military, with its combat search and rescue capabilities, is the one that's doing search and rescue on Mount Rainier.